Hey guys, what's up? It's me again. Hope you're all doing well today. This weekend is the Chaos Origin sneak peek, which is a really cool event, and I did end up going yesterday. It was honestly a really fun event. I was looking forward to the set for a long time in the TCG. There's honestly just a ton of archetypes I'm a really big fan of, so I'm very happy they got support in the set. Yugi's new Chaos deck is by far my favorite one. I really like this archetype a lot. I'm a huge fan of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monster, so it made me really happy to see this archetype. It's definitely going to be one of the decks I play this format. I also got some pretty good pulls out of my first 5 packs. I did pull an Overframe Blackluster Soldier, which is so cool. My friend also won the raffle, so we got the playmat, and the playmat looks really nice in the set. I wish Konami didn't put the word all over the playmats because I think it makes it look worse, but at the same time Black Chaos looks really cool on the playmat. For the sneak peek tournament, I did get first place, and I ended up winning the event with Synchron. This is my first time getting to use the Synchron cards in person because I did not play any tournaments when Glorious Gallery came out in the TCG. The main reason why is because locals is really far from me and I was pretty busy the past couple of weeks. I don't really live close to any Yu-Gi-Oh shops, so every time I go to locals it takes a really long time there and back. Also, playing in Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments in person does take quite a long time. I've had Junkmeister and Junk Armor for a while because I got the cards very early when the set came out. Unfortunately, I just couldn't go to any tournaments when Glorious Gallery came out. I know you guys like seeing those tournament recap videos I made before, but I really couldn't make one just because I couldn't go to locals. But I definitely did want to make a video on Chaos Origin sneak peek. I always try to go to every sneak peek whenever a new set comes out because it's always really fun. You get to meet a lot of your friends that you don't get to see all the time, which is a really nice bonus. Also, getting your hands on the new cards before they get officially released is always really cool. So I had a ton of fun playing at the sneak peek tournament and I got to win with Synchron, which is so awesome. If you guys haven't seen the videos on my channel before, I make a ton of Synchron combos. It's by far one of my favorite archetypes ever. I'm gonna start making some playlists on my channel for all my combos. I post a ton of Synchron combos, so it might be very hard to navigate and find them. I'll just make a playlist so it's easy to find them all in one spot. So now that the TCG finally has Junkmeister and Junk Armor, my honest opinion about the deck is that it's pretty crazy. Cards like Junkmeister and Junk Armor are incredibly custom. When you combine them with another custom card like Junk Signal, they're gonna be really insane. I honestly feel like I'm playing a really strong deck when I play Synchron in the TCG now. So I'm gonna show you guys my deck list now and I'll talk about the tournament and the cards individually after. When most people do a deck list, I like to show you each card individually, but I think it's better to show you guys the entire deck list as a whole. I think it's a bit easier this way because I know some people don't care about my explanations about my deck choices. If you guys just care about the deck list and you don't want an explanation, you can just pause the video and take a screenshot. Now you have my entire deck list if you don't care about anything else. But if you guys do want to hear the explanations about why I ran certain cards, I'll tell you right now. So for the main deck and for the non-tuners, I'm running triple copies of Junkmeister, 1 Junk Armor, 1 Assault Sonic Warrior, and 1 Full Speed Warrior. I think this is honestly the perfect ratio if you want to build a Synchron deck. Junkmeister is honestly broken, so you definitely want to maximize on copies of this card in your deck. The card is basically a full combo without having to commit to your normal summon. This card can also add any junk card from your deck to your hand, which is honestly really nice. That means you can add a monster like Junk Armor to your hand, or you can add a spell card like Junk Signal. Junkmeister is honestly one of the best cards in a Synchron deck. Now Junk Armor isn't a brick like some people think because you can normal summon the card and still get full combo, but at the same time you don't want to run multiple copies because this card isn't that great of a starter. This card is basically a poplar because when this card is added to your hand you get to special summon it. This card is also a Lone Fire Blossom because you get to tribute this card in the field to summon a Synchron monster from your deck. Most of the time it's going to be starter Synchron. Cards like Junkmeister and Armor work really well together. It's one of the reasons why this deck is so good now. These two cards honestly just complement each other so well. Now you also just want to play one copy each of Assault Sonic Warrior and Full Speed Warrior. Assault Sonic Warrior is very nice because the card works really well with dual evolution, but at the same time you don't want to run multiple because you don't want to normal summon this card ever. You just want to have this card in your deck so you can add it to your hand off a card effect and then special summon the card. Now Full Speed Warrior is honestly really nice now. Now that we have Junkmeister in the TCG, it makes the card a really nice starter card. You can play a second copy if you want. I honestly don't think it's the worst thing ever. Me personally, I really don't like normal summoning the card. I like to summon it from my deck off the effect of Junk Signal. For the non-tuner Synchron engine, I really think you want to play these 4 monsters and in this ratio. I think having 3 Junkmeister is perfect and having 1 each of the other cards. And now for the Synchron tuners, I have 2 Starter Synchron, 2 Junk Synchron, 1 Assault Synchron, 1 Jet Synchron, and 1 Scrap Synchron. I really do like these ratios as well. Now Starter Synchron is honestly a really great card because it's the only one of the Synchron tuners that isn't a brick. This card really isn't that great of a normal summon, but at the same time it's still okay. The card is definitely better as an extender rather than a starter, which is why you don't want to play 3 copies of the card. 2 is the magic number in my opinion. You're playing 2 copies of Junk Synchron because you kinda have to run 2 copies of this card. Synchro Fellowship requires you to have this card in your deck if you want to activate the card, but another reason why you want to play 2 copies of this card is because you really want to have a level 3 tuner in your deck to summon off Junk Speeder. Not having a copy of Junk Synchron in your deck to summon off Speeder is really bad. I think this is the reason why you want to play 2 of this card even though the card is a brick. Now 1 Assault Synchron, 1 Jet Synchron, and 1 Scrap Synchron is perfect as well. These cards are bricks so you don't want to play multiple, but at the same time drawing the cards aren't the worst thing ever. Scrap Synchron is honestly a pretty nice card because this card is just a natural extender. If you summon Full Speed Warrior or Assault Sonic Warrior and they get hit by a hand trap, Scrap Synchron is pretty good to have in your hand. Assault Synchron isn't too bad either because you can just summon this card for free. Really the only Synchron that you don't want to draw in your hand is going to be Jet Synchron. The other 2 are really not that bad to draw in my opinion. Now you also have 2 Junk Signal and 1 Synchro Fellowship. Junk Signal is honestly a pretty broken card. I might consider running 3 copies of this card. This card is honestly so good at helping you dodge hand traps, it's pretty crazy. At my round 1 game, I fought against Cooltoon and I opened Meister and Signal in my hand and it was awesome. I activated the effect of Meister in my hand to reveal Stardust Dragon in my extra deck to summon this card from my hand. My opponent had Valor when I tried to activate the other effect of this card, but then I activated Signal. My opponent even had Ash Blossom for my Signal, but it didn't even matter. Because my Meister is no longer on my field, it doesn't matter that my opponent had Valor. I still got to dodge that hand trap. That means I get to add Junk Armor to my hand and then I get to summon the card. My opponent also had another Valor, but it didn't matter. I still had Dual Evolution Assault Zone in my hand, so I still got to do full combo. This deck is honestly really good at ignoring so many hand traps in the game. So there's honestly a world where you might want to play 3 copies of Junk Signal. Because nobody's playing Nibiru right now because Nibiru is really bad, you really don't have to save your Signal for Zaylin. Junk Signal is honestly a really broken card. I'd say it's basically a mini Cooltoon Synchro. I'm honestly considering playing another copy of this card in my deck. I'm also only playing 1 copy of Fellowship. You really don't want to play more than 1 of this. This card is honestly a pretty nice extender, but you never want to draw this card in your opening hand. You always want this card in your deck so you can add it to your hand off the effect of Full Speed Warrior or Scrap Warrior. Now I'm also playing triple copies of Dual Evolution Assault Zone over a card like Emergency Teleport. I know a lot of people in my comment section always ask me why aren't you playing Emergency Teleport? E-Tele is a lot worse than Dual Evolution Assault Zone mainly because it plays a lot worse into Fuwalos. People like to argue and say that E-Tele is better because it plays better into Droll, but that really is not as big of a factor as people think. When you're evaluating which hand traps you want to play around in your deck, you have to think about what cards people are actually running in their deck to begin with. Pretty much everybody's main decking Fuwalos and they're running that card at 3 copies in their deck. You can't say the same thing about Droll, not everybody's maining the card. You can only play 2 Droll in your deck, but you can run up to 3 Fuwalos. You're just gonna run into a card like Fuwalos more because more people are playing Fuwalos than Droll, and also Fuwalos is at a higher quantity. It's honestly really just basic math at this point. 3 is just a bigger number than 2. So hopefully the people in the comment section who always leave a comment about why you playing a card like Dual Evolution over E-Tele understand it now. Dual Evolution is just a better card, you basically never want to play E-Tele. Fuwalos is also already the hardest hand trap for Synchron to deal with. For the non-engine hand traps, I have Harmonia, Fuwalos, Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, Magnema, and Drewsworm. For the spell cards, I have Droplet, Called by the Grave, Talent, and Rhoda. I also have a Terraforming for the Dual Evolution. Now the reason why I picked these hand traps is because these cards are good on the opponent's turn, but they're also good on my turn. For example, Harmonia is really nice when you can activate it on the opponent's turn, but on my own turn it's still pretty fine. I can use the card on the opponent's turn, but I can also use the card on my own turn as a breaker. Same thing with a card like Ash, I can use Ash Blossom on the opponent's turn, but it's also pretty good on my turn to stop Fuwalos. Now Bestial Magnema is also amazing in this deck. I know a lot of other Synchron players don't like to run the card, but I definitely would. The card will let you search Harmonia, which is a really nice plus because as I said, Harmonia is good on the opponent's turn, but it's also a really good breaker on your own turn. But the best thing about Magnema for sure is that the card is really good against Cooltoon. Your opponent's going to check the top cards from your deck off the effect of Q and they're going to give you a really bad card you're going to draw. Because you add during the end phase, now your deck will get shuffled and now you can draw a really good card. The card is also really nice because it helps you make Chaos Angel really easily. Starter Synchron's a light monster who's a level 4 tuner and Bestial Magnema's level 6 dark. That will get you a level 10 light and dark Chaos Angel, which is broken. That means now your Synchron monsters are unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects and they also can't be destroyed by battle. It's honestly really amazing with a card like Psychic End Punisher. Psychic End Punisher is already basically a tower monster. When your life points are equal to or less than your opponent, this card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. That means your opponent can't get rid of Psychic End Punisher with Super Polymerization, Droplet, or Crown. That means the only way your opponent can get rid of this card is by battle or with a Kaiju. That means if you have a light and dark Chaos Angel, your opponent could not even run over your Psychic End Punisher by battle. They have to draw a Kaiju, otherwise the card will just sit on the field forever. I won so many games just sitting on Psychic End Punisher and Chaos Angel because it was so easy. The Yugi Chaos deck also could not even out a light and dark Chaos Angel. The reason why is because all the removal in their engine is just monster based. They have one spell card within their archetype called Mystical Chaos Box, but nobody runs the card. This means that if you summon a light and dark Chaos Angel against a Yugi deck, you're probably gonna win. They basically have no way to out your Synchro monsters. Now since I already started talking about the extra deck, I might as well talk about the rest of the cards in there. You're playing Synchros like Crimson Dragon, Shooting Majestic Star Dragon, Stardust Dragon, and Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon. These cards are pretty much mandatory, you have to run them. Shooting Majestic Star Dragon is honestly so good because this card is basically a double Omni Negate. You banish this card, then you activate the effect of Assault Synchron to banish another card. Really nice, I pulled it off a lot today. I also think the Rose Synchros are pretty much mandatory even though I don't see other people running them. Having Garden Rose Maiden and Rose Witch is honestly just so nice. They let you Synchro climb really easily and then you get to bring back a Dragon Synchro from the grave. It comes up a lot in a lot of combos, it's also pretty decent for the grind game. Trishula Zero is also really important, you basically have to run this card as well. Trishula Zero is also really important as well, this card is basically a staple in the extra deck. You have to summon this card off the effect of the Crimson Dragon on the opponent's turn so you don't get destroyed by Alba Lenitus. Now the one card that I'm running here that you're probably wondering about is Jet Warrior. Jet Warrior is honestly really important here so you don't get destroyed by the turn 0 chess play. Opening to e4 is honestly really annoying because that's a turn 0 chess combo. That will put Bastion and Shatranga into your opponent's spell and trap zone, and now you can only attempt to activate 5 monster effects per turn. Bastion's also really annoying there because it makes it so Shatranga can't be destroyed by card effects. This is why another card like Black Rose Dragon would not work here. That's basically why I want to run Jet Warriors, because I want to have at least one way in my extra deck to out the turn 0 chess floodgate. The card doesn't destroy, which is really helpful because it means it bypasses the protection effect off Bastion. I can also summon Jet Warrior really easily in less than 5 monster effects. Now you have to ask, is it worth playing Jet Warrior to beat the turn 0 floodgate combo? Opening to e4 is honestly really splashable, and so is the rest of the chess cards. It doesn't seem like it, but Bastion plus Shatranga is a really annoying floodgate combo. I think it is worth playing Jet Warrior so you don't auto lose to opening to e4. I would definitely recommend playing Jet Warrior if I were you guys. Now I'm going to show you guys my side deck, and a lot of the stuff I'm doing is based on my own preference. You guys don't have to run them if you don't like what I'm playing. So I have 2 Lightning Storm, 2 Illusion Gate, I have 2 Thrust, 1 Feather Duster, and a Solemn Judgment. Those are basically all the spells and traps I'm running. I think a lot of these are really self-explanatory. Cards like Lightning Storm, Illusion Gate, and Feather Duster are really good at breaking the opponent's board. One of the worst things about playing Synchron as a deck is that they're really bad at going second. This is why basically almost every card in my extra deck is to help me go second. This deck is honestly really amazing at going first, really bad at going second. This is why your side deck has to be a lot of hand traps and board breakers. I'm also siding 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird, and honestly the card is so weird to me right now. It feels like in this format whenever you use Droll, the card is either garbage or the card is amazing. It really doesn't feel like there's any in between. Whenever you fight Branded, Droll is one of the worst hand traps ever, the card is useless. It's honestly pretty sad how bad of a card Droll is against Branded. Even against a deck like Cool Tune, you would assume Droll and Lockbird would be crazy, but it's really mid. If they open Rotary in their hand, Droll and Lockbird is not doing anything. Even a deck against like Elf Note now with their new Synchro, Droll and Lockbird is terrible. Next week I'm going to show you guys an anti-Droll combo with Elf Note. It's honestly pretty sad how bad of a card Droll is against Elf Note now. Their new Synchro honestly carries them a ton. Now for sure one of my favorite cards in the side deck was Trap Eater. I already like Trap Eater a lot because it's a card that Jack used and I really do like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, but the reason why Trap Eater is so good is because it hits so many decks in the meta right now. Obviously Trap Eater is already good against the Yugi Chaos deck because they have Mind Shuffle. All you have to do is take away their Mind Shuffle and then you get to summon this card. What makes it even better is that Trap Eater is a level 4 tuner. That's incredibly nice because it means this card and Scrap Warrior get to make Zaylin. So Trap Eater being a level 4 tuner is already naturally useful. Now I know some people prefer Gravekeeper's Watcher, but in my opinion Trap Eater is better. The reason why is because if your opponent would try to activate a card like Garifo and they get to set their Mind Shuffle and they try to activate it, if you use Gravekeeper's Watcher to try to negate that, if they have Swordsman in their hand, they get to place the Mind Shuffle back to their field. The reason why Trap Eater is better is because you get to remove the card on your own turn. This is really nice because most of the time they'll activate the effect of Garifo already on their own turn. This means they can't even set another Mind Shuffle from their deck. Even if they have Swordsman in their hand, it doesn't matter because that card's not a quick effect. This is why I think Trap Eater is better than Gravekeeper's Watcher. It's also really good against Elf Note, you get to get rid of their Maddening Rhapsodia. That means they miss out on their Omni Negate, which is huge. This is also really good against Doomsday because they have that trap card Doomsday Destruction. That card is basically a one-sided Thunder King, so you get to remove that card for free. Trap Eater is honestly really good in my opinion. I think the card is way better than Gravekeeper's Watcher. I would definitely recommend that you guys play Trap Eater. Now for the final card that I was playing 1 copy of Gamma Seal and 2 Santa Claus. It's honestly really nice to have some kaijus here because there's a lot of tower cards running around right now. The Yugi Chaos deck has 3 towers which are honestly all really annoying to deal with. There's also just some really annoying cards like Verugis, Regulus, Crystal Wing, Caesar, just some really annoying negate cards that you want to get rid of. I honestly really enjoyed siding Gamma Seal and Santa Claus. Now you might be wondering why you only play 1 Gamma Seal and 2 Santa Claus. Would it not be better to play 2 kaijus? Playing 2 kaijus is honestly really bad because I can't tribute 2 monsters on my opponent's field. Each player can only control 1 kaiju card, so the other kaiju I have to summon to my own field. That would honestly do nothing for me. This is why Santa Claus is so much better. If I draw 2 Santa Claus, I can use both of them in my hand. I can tribute 1 monster on my opponent's field and then I get to tribute another monster. This is why you only want to play 1 kaiju and 2 Santa Claus. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the deck. I honestly had a lot of fun playing at the Chaos Origins sneak peek and I'm really happy I won the tournament. But let me just say, I think this format's honestly really bad. There's just honestly some really annoying floodgates in this format like the chess stuff. I honestly think the chess stuff had a really bad impact on this format. There's also a lot of FTKs right now, which is always really annoying to deal with. I even ran into Satellar Knight FTK myself, which is honestly so unfun to play against. I did end up winning, but at the same time, it's just really annoying to fight stuff like that. I'm honestly not a fan of that type of Yu-Gi-Oh! But you guys can let me know in the comments if you find this format fun. Maybe I just have to continue playing this format and I'll like it some more, but I'm really not enjoying it so far. But I am going to a box tournament next week, so I'll let you guys know how that goes. Also, if you guys want to see an updated Synchron combo guide for Chaos Origins, you can leave a comment. I don't think the combos are all that different, but you really should know the Jet Warrior combo. It's pretty much the combo that you have to know if your opponent opens opening to e4. Me personally, I really hate running Jet Warrior, but you have to have some counterplay to the turn 0 chess combo. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video now, so if you guys still want the deck list, I'll leave it on the screen for just a little bit longer. You can just pause the video and take a screenshot. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Take care, guys. Have a good one. See you later.